Great talking to you.
Good to be with you again.
Your latest column, Obama has a knack for ticking off America's friends. It's amazing, and I'm so glad that you were talking about Operation Fast and Furious and how this is playing out not only here in the United States, but down in Mexico as well.
Well, President Obama was hailed by many of his admirers as somebody who would be sensitive to the needs of foreign peoples and governments, who would be sophisticated and nuanced. Well, his administration has pushed policies in which we're exporting illegal guns to Mexico and refusing to import legal oil from Canada, our two closest neighbors. That doesn't show great sensitivity. What it shows is a president with an underwater job rating looking to win re-election by courting particular core groups in the Democratic Party.
So, in other words, our foreign policy is at the mercy of Obama's politics.
Well, that's right. I think we don't know for sure what the motivation or thinking of Fast and Furious was, this idea of facilitating illegal purchases and then export of those guns across the line without keeping track of them into Mexico. It's hard to think of any rational explanation except that was just put forward by a lot of conservative commentators, which is this administration was trying to build a case for gun control laws in the United States. Mm-hmm. And, they had used that bogus figure that 90% of guns used in Mexican cartel, drug cartel deaths were from the United States. And, of course, that 90% number referred to those that had been referred by the Mexican government to the U.S. for authority, and the actual percentage was far lower.
Right.
We don't know exactly what it was, but it's far lower.
Absolutely. And, and as they're doing this, as both President Obama, the Attorney General Eric Holder, and Mexico's President Felipe Calderon all talking about the need for more gun control laws here in the United States, this operation is going on.
That's right. So it looks like there was a political motivation for that. I don't believe I can say that I feel sure that that's the case, but it's hard to see what other rational reason we can. Do we want to inflict harm on our friends in Mexico, on the people of Mexico? Do we want to undercut the government of Mexico? I don't think that's a good idea generally. We have our disagreements with the government of Mexico. We have ways of handling those. We should respect them, though, generally, and this president's policies seem to show contempt for the people and government of Mexico.
Yeah, I agree with you. Even the Obama administration has tried to refer back to this case, Operation Wide Receiver, which took place during the Bush administration, but in that operation, you actually had government officials who were talking with law enforcement in Mexico.
We tracked or attempted to track the guns, and we informed the Mexican officials of what we were doing.
Right.
Neither was true of Fast and Furious. So, the idea of saying, well, the Republicans did it too, turns out not to be accurate.
And you say up in Canada, we're messing up our relationship with our neighbors to the north as well.
Well, that's right. The Canadian government, Canada is prospecting for oil with new drilling and extraction techniques in the so-called oil sands of northern Alberta. And there's a Canadian firm, TransCanada, that wants to build a Keystone XL pipeline, increasing pipeline capacity to take that oil and to put it to Cushing, Oklahoma, which is a distribution center, and to the Texas, Louisiana, Gulf Coast refineries. This would free us up from having to rely on declining supplies of oil from Mexico, whose fields are running out, and from Venezuela, which, of course, is headed up by a person who is anything but an ally of the United States, Hugo Chavez. It would lessen dependence on Middle East oil. But a bunch of enviro characters are saying, well, we don't like there's going to be some carbon emissions in the oil in Canada. Well, and my view on that is, that's Canada's business. Canada is not a country which is totally non-caring about its environment. They've got serious, shown serious concerns in many ways about protecting the environment in reasonable ways that allows economic growth. And this case, and in any case, that oil is going to be extracted, and if it's not sent through the Keystone pipeline, it's going to China. So The enviro groups are really kind of wacky here. They claim there's danger to the Ogallala aquifer in Nebraska. We've had 25,000 miles of pipelines, I read recently, over aquifers in the United States. We haven't seen any aquifer ruined, and we've had oil and gas pipelines going back to, the 1920s, 1930s, a very long time. So we've had a lot of experience with them, and I think these complaints are purely spurious. I think President Obama, who made the decision here to delay this till after the election, is trying to gin up a part of the Democratic base, the enviro groups, as I call them, and score cheap points. In the process, he is showing disrespect, if not contempt, for the government and people of Canada, which has been, a friendly neighbor of the United States for more than 150 years.
Well, absolutely, and I would say as well, contempt for those Americans who can be put to work with this project.
Well, I mean, this is a president that says he wants to create jobs, and he says he wants to reduce our dependence on Middle East oil. Both those goals would be furthered by the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline, but he's disapproving it and throwing it out, delaying it at least 13 months, and maybe putting the kibosh on it altogether.
Well, listen, Michael, again, I'm really pleased you could join us on the program, sir. It's always a real pleasure talking to the Dean of American Politics, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Okay, thanks.
Michael Barone joined us from the American Enterprise Institute here on Cam and Company.